Here are our objectives for today. By the end of today's lesson, candidates should be able to do the following. Share with others some tips for making oral presentations, explain the various components of the speaking and listening activities at all 3 stages, and explain the rubrics for the group discussion and the individual presentation. For the speaking and listening component of this course, what do the candidates have to do? This is really a recap of what we spoke about on Monday. So at stage 3, candidates have a listening task to do. They have a presentation, peer evaluation, group discussion, and reflection, and all of that values 30 marks. At stage 2, you have a listening task, small group discussion, and reflection, and that values 24 marks. And at stage 1, you also have a listening task, small group discussion, and reflection. It values 20 marks. So here's a table representing that information. So we're seeing clearly that the listening comprehension for stage 1 values 5 marks and the group discussion 15. So overall, you earn 20 marks for your speaking and listening task. At stage 2, the listening comprehension values 5 marks, the group discussion values 19 marks, so your overall marks will be 24. And at stage 3, you have 3 things to do. So you have your listening comprehension that values 8 marks, your group discussion that values 10 marks, and you have an individual presentation to do that values all of 12 marks. So your total is 30 marks. Please keep that in mind. Now, when you get your exam paper, you will see some general instructions, and I want you to become familiar with the general instructions before you actually get in the exam. And I'm sure that your teachers would have gone through these with you, but reinforcement is always good. So the examination paper will guide you as follows. Check that you have put your name and details on the front cover of this test. And I have marked test papers already without names. So it's very, very important that you pay attention to this instruction. Don't ever take it for granted. Complete the 3 activities in this test using a blue or black ink pen, and remember, we do not use gel ink for this exam. For activity 1, you are to prepare and deliver a brief talk or presentation, and you know that this only happens at the stage 3 level. And of course, you have to complete an evaluation form, and we'll talk more about that in a little while. For activity 2, you will listen to the recording and answer the questions similar to what we did on Monday. And you may listen to the recording up to 3 times. Then we move on to activity 3. You're going to take part in a group discussion with a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 people. Make sure that you read each question carefully so that you give the examiner exactly what he or she wants. Make sure that you also answer all the questions and that you write your answers in the answer booklet that is provided. So even though it is a speaking and listening exam, you will actually get an answer booklet where you will record some information. All right, we continue. The speaking and listening element will be internally assessed and quality assured. So it will be done at your school level, right? It will be conducted by your assessors, who are your teachers, and it will be supervised by your internal verifier, who is the head of your department, and the external verifier will come to visit to make sure that proper procedure is being followed. The listening activity and the discussion can be assessed on different occasions. So everybody may come in to sit the listening comprehension activity on a particular day, and then other persons are reassigned different dates to come in for their group discussion. Standard Jamaican English, yes, which is the target language, must be used during the assessment. So it means that during this break, you need to practice to speak using standard Jamaican English. There is a minimum duration required of at least 5 minutes to complete the discussion activity. So that discussion that you're going to have in your group, you'll get 5 minutes to complete that activity. So make sure that you contribute all your valuable points within those 5 minutes. The candidate should be given a week prior to the assessment to prepare for the presentation, right? So you are going to do your individual presentation at stage 3 and you're going to do your group discussion. You will get your topic a week in advance. The presentation should take about 3 to 4 minutes with additional time allowed for questions at the very end. So this is the individual presentation. Candidates, this is being reinforced because it's very important. So candidates can listen to the complete recording for the listening activity, which is activity 2, up to 3 times without pausing. If you're unsuccessful at a first attempt after listening 3 times, the candidates may retake the listening comprehension activity during the designated resit period with a different transcript. Candidates may take notes, yes, you can, and answer questions at any time during the listening comprehension activity. Any notes made must not leave the examination room, and that's very, very important. There is a minimum duration required of at least 5 minutes for the discussion activity, so make sure that you pay attention to that. And when you're practicing, and you can practice at home with your family members and have somebody act as a timekeeper, no more than 5 minutes, and you can have a very lively discussion among your family on a topic of your choice, a topic that you're comfortable with, but make sure that you time yourselves and you practice by speaking in standard English. The candidate can have a maximum of 30 minutes to prepare for the discussion. So on the day of the exam, you will get at least 30 minutes to prepare for your group discussion. The discussion and the presentation topic will be provided by City and Guilds London. The groups for the discussion will consist of at least 3 and no more than 5 candidates, and you will actually be placed in these groups on the day of the exam, not before. Now let's look at the stage 1 mark scheme, right, or grading system for the speaking and listening exam. So if you score between 10 to 12, you would have earned a pass for the speaking and listening component. If you score between 13 and 16 marks, you would have earned a merit. And if you scored between 17 and 20, you would earn a distinction. The highest you can get at stage 1 is 20 out of 20, and that will earn you a distinction for the speaking and listening. What happens at stage 2? If you score 12 to 16 marks, you earn a pass. And I don't want you to get that. I want you to do more than pass. So you're going to work for a merit or a distinction. In order to get a merit, you have to score between 17 and 21 marks. And to earn a distinction, it has to be 22 to 24 marks at stage 2. At stage 3, 15 to 20 marks, that's a pass. 21 to 26 marks, that's a merit, and 27 to 30 marks, that's a distinction. All right, so we work for those distinctions. Now let's talk about group discussion. Let's talk about stage 1 first of all. So for this group discussion, you're going to get 15 marks. You can earn 15 marks. What are the examiners looking for? When you know what the examiners are looking for, then you can come prepared and you can earn maximum marks. So the first point is that you should speak clearly and appropriately for the situation. So we don't want the slangs and the colloquial expressions. Remember, we're speaking in standard English, and you have to speak clearly for the examiner to hear you and for your group members to hear you as well. And you earn 2 marks. You're to listen to and identify information given by others. So the examiner will know based on your response whether you're listening to your group members, yes or no, and you can earn 2 marks for that. You should provide relevant information within the topic and context of the discussion for a description or an explanation or an account, and you can earn up to 3 marks for doing that. You're also expected to listen to and respond appropriately to others' points of view. Sometimes we think that we are the only persons who have something important to say, but it is not so. So you have to make sure that you listen and respond appropriately to other persons' point of view. Then you get marks, 2 marks for responding to questions appropriately. So you have to listen, make sure you understand the question before you answer. If you don't understand the question, you ask for clarification. And then you get marks for making requests and asking questions to obtain additional information. So feel free to ask for more information if you need to. The examiner will also look at how you have used strategies to clarify and confirm your understanding. So if you understand something that you did not understand before, the examiner wants you to indicate that you understand. And you can ask questions, you can use your own examples and explanations to prove that you understand the concept now. So you can rephrase. Am I to understand that this is what you mean? You could ask a question to confirm that this is what the person says and this is your understanding of it. Respect the turn-taking rights of others during a discussion. If all of us speak at once, there's going to be confusion. So you have to respect the turn-taking rights of every individual, right? When it is your time to speak, speak. When it is not, then be quiet, and you earn a mark for doing this. So that's stage 1. So let's hop over now to look at what happens at stage 2, and you're going to see some similarities. So if you present ideas and organize information in sequence and you develop the main points, wow, 2 marks. If you listen to and identify information given by others all the time, not just one time, but all the time, that's another 2 marks. If you listen to and respond, right? So you listen to it and you respond to information given by others consistently, you earn 2 marks. If you have done it but it has not been consistent, you can earn a mark. If you make several contributions to a discussion, you can earn 2 marks. Don't believe that you can engage in a discussion for 5 minutes and you only have one main point. No. And that is why you're getting your topic a week in advance so that you can prepare well. So make sure you have many contributions to make. Okay, if you respond to questions appropriately, you earn 2 marks. If you make requests and ask questions to obtain additional information and you do this appropriately, that's 2 marks. And if you adapt contributions in a discussion to suit your audience, your purpose and your situation, you earn another 2 marks. So you may have made a point, but your table members did not fully understand your point. So you're going to make some changes. Maybe you want to use a new example. Maybe you want to paraphrase. Maybe you want to give a different illustration because you want to make sure that people understand what you are saying. If you use strategies to clarify and confirm understanding, you have earned 2 marks. If you use phrases for interruption that are appropriate to the situation consistently, then you earn another 2 marks. So you can't just butt in, as we would say in Jamaica. You have to do so respectfully. Excuse me, may I add a point to that? Excuse me, may I say X, Y, and Z? Or in a little while, I want to respond to that, right? Or I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to contradict you here. Whatever you do, make sure that you do it respectfully. You can't just barge in, right? So be very respectful. And again, 1 mark if you respect the turn-taking rights of others during a discussion. So we're moving now to stage 3. Stage 3 discussion, 10 marks. So you're going to get 2 marks for each of the criterion. If you make several significant contributions to a discussion. So we want some points that have great value and depth. So make sure that the contribution that you bring to the table is significant. And that can come from your research. If you adapt contributions in a discussion to suit your audience, your purpose and situation, you earn 2 marks. If you use evidence, sometimes this is where I find a lot of students don't do very well. They have reasons to support their view, but they lack evidence. So work on that area if you know that that is a problem for you. So 2 marks if you use evidence to support opinions and arguments. 2 marks if you use phrases for interruption and change of topic that are appropriate to the situation. And 2 marks if you use strategies to reassure persons. So that covers the group discussion. All right, so let's talk now about the individual presentation. And remember, this only happens at stage 3. 12 marks you can earn. What are the examiners looking for? Knowledge is power. When you know this, you act on it and you come prepared. So for this presentation, you need to speak confidently in a way that suits the situation throughout the presentation. If you're not confident, the assessors will know. You should demonstrate the organization and sequencing of information and ideas. So all of these must be put together properly and you can earn 2 marks. The candidate should give an effective explanation or account. So we want details. Make sure that the explanation that you give, it is clear, makes sense. Candidates should also be able to give multi-step instruction that can be followed. Notice we didn't hear about this in the other stages. So you should be able to give steps in sequential order. So when you think about multi-step instruction, you can think about like how you'd give somebody direction to your house or how you'd give somebody a recipe. You want them to follow a particular order. You want them to do many things. So what do I do now and what do I do afterwards? So if you're able to give multi-step instruction, then you can earn 2 marks. All right, so pay attention to that and come prepared to do that so you can earn your 2 marks. Candidate responds confidently, go back to the confidence issue again, respond confidently to detailed or extended questions, and the candidate responds to criticism and criticizes constructively. That's another 2 marks. So yes, you are going to get some criticism, and we encourage constructive criticism. The examiner is also going to look at how you respond to those criticisms, because some persons don't take criticism very well, some do. So you get marks for responding to criticism and you criticizing others constructively. Let's talk about the oral presentation, and let me just share some tips with you. And while you're at home, it's a good time to practice. If you want to go in the bathroom to practice, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you practice. Make a good set of notes that you can follow at a glance. Notice, at a glance. No reading is going to be done. And practice your presentation. Practice in front of your family and your friends. Ask somebody to film you while you do your practice sessions. And make sure you dress for the occasion and that you are well groomed. Okay? Make sure that your notes, and these notes are going to be written in the answer booklet. You cannot take notes into the exam. So you would have done your research and stored the information in your head, and then when you get into the exam room, you will put that information in the answer booklet. So make sure that your notes and your other materials are in proper order before you begin. You want everything to go smoothly. And get rid of any gum or food that you might have in your mouth. Stand straight with your weight balanced. Avoid slumping, twisting, or leaning on the lectern, the table, or the computer console. Make eye contact. Look at the persons you are talking to. Make eye contact before you start to speak, as you normally do in beginning a conversation. And talk to your listeners as if you are having a conversation with them. And you have conversations with people all the time. As I said, you may not speak to them in standard English all the time, but you do talk to them all the time. So look them in the eyes. All right? Make plenty of genuine eye-to-eye contact with members of the audience. In the exam, you will not be allowed to read your presentation. It is not a presentation for you to read and demonstrate how well you can read. You are to demonstrate how well you can present, be a very good presenter. So you will have the information and you can glance at the information, but there should be no continuous reading. It will not be permitted. Focus on sharing your ideas as best as you can. And you will do this confidently if you practice. Use your voice expressively and meaningfully. Let your voice work for you. Enunciate your words clearly. Don't mumble or garble them. Speak with appropriate loudness and speed. I have a tendency sometimes of speaking very fast, right? So if you know that you have a problem like me, then you work on it. Consider your audience, consider where you are, consider the topic. And use variations in speed, inflections, and force to enhance your meaning and hold your audience's attention. Avoid monotony. Nobody likes a boring speech. Nobody. So make sure that you're not boring. Use your body expressively and meaningfully, so both voice and body. Look interested in the topic. If you're not interested in the topic, then why should your audience be? Show your enthusiasm, your sincerity, and your commitment. And try to minimize distracting mannerisms and aimlessly shifting weight or moving about. We tend to do this when we are nervous, all right? Use gestures and movement naturally to describe things, to underscore transitions that you're going to make, and to emphasize certain points. And it is important to remember the 3 E's of effective delivery. You want to make sure that you have energy. Come energized, come enthused. If you want to say come with a lot of passion and vim, vigor, and vitality, sure. But come with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Let your audience see that you have come well prepared, that you have a lot to share, that you have the energy, that you have the zeal, and that you want them to be interested in what you are going to talk about. Make sure that you are convincing. And if you don't have the energy, if you're just lethargic, you're going to lose your audience from the very start. You don't want that. So make sure that you come energized. You would have gotten a good night's sleep before, you would have done your research, you would have been doing your practicing, and you are comfortable now to speak. So your audience can feed from your energy. So make sure you come with high energy. Natural energy, right? Good. Eye contact is very, very important. You can't be talking to an audience and you're looking down. So make sure that you're looking at your audience. And in that examination room, you're going to have some of your classmates, and you are going to have your assessors, you're going to have your internal verifier, and the external verifier will also be there. Now make sure that you make eye contact. Now for the individual presentation that is done at stage 3, after you have done your 3 minutes presentation, then a group member, right, is going to ask you some questions based on what you have said. So that group member is going to evaluate you. So that group member would have been paying keen attention to what you are saying. So make sure that you look the group member in the eye. Make sure that you make that important eye-to-eye contact and that people can feel your sincerity, okay? So that is very, very important. The expression is probably what is going to be the biggest challenge for you. But if you practice, it will become easy. So that is why we've always been encouraging you to practice. So guess what? Listen to others who speak standard English and learn as much as you can. Right? So pay attention to how people speak, how they express themselves. Go back over the rules that your teacher has gone through with you, all the rules related to correct grammar, and practice to speak in standard English. Make sure that you know the difference between the standard English and the Jamaican Creole, and that your expression is clear. Right? And everybody can hear what you have to say and appreciate, and make sure that you are also very convincing. So those 3 E's are very, very important: energy, eye contact, and expression. Now remember that we listen to learn. We listen to learn. So you're going to practice. Maybe you were not a good listener before. After today, I hope that you become a better listener. So guess what? You learn when you listen. That's true. You earn when you listen, not just money, but respect. Believe that you can. I believe that you can, and if you believe it, you will definitely achieve it. That's all the time that we have for today. But join us again tomorrow for more math and English lessons. Pleasant viewing.